This is the 2023 Honda CR-V. As you can see on the screen right there, it is the hybrid two-wheel drive sport. Yes, originally, I believe these were all supposed to be, if they had the hybrid powertrain, standard all-wheel drive. Somewhere along the lines, obviously that changed. But we're going to take a look at this fully redesigned CR-V, fully redesigned for 2023, and see if we can answer the question, is it better than ever? Very nice looking vehicle. Has more space inside and out. It's comfortable, quite a bit of cargo capacity. And if you're looking for good gas mileage, well, obviously the hybrid version, such as what we have here, is one of the greatest options you can consider. I borrowed this model from my friends at Holmes Honda here in Shreveport, Louisiana. If you want to know more about this particular model or any other model at Holmes Honda, check out the link down in the description of the video. And if you come in to buy something, tell whoever you talk to that Tom from Vehicle Visionary sent you their way. And how about size differences? The wheelbase increases by 1.6 inches. And if you're wondering what's wheelbase, that's measured from the center of one tire to the center of the other. From bumper to bumper, the overall length increases by 2.7 inches, and the width sees an uptick of 0.4 inches. Obviously more squared off than previously before, but that's mainly going to be from the A-pillar. That's what this is right here. That's the A-pillar forward. So you're going to have a more squared off front end. You will have the fender flares right here that work their way up to this flat section of the fender. It's going to work its way up with a nice little angle, kind of an indentation here, and then an uptick coming all the way up with the pinstriping right here. You don't see that very often anymore, but there's pinstriping on this vehicle working its way to the hood. And then we have a rise and then a little bit of a fall down here. You're going to have the nice hood lines here that work their way up. They're going to take an angle to the right and kind of disappear as they do that. You're going to have the bulge in the center here, and obviously the repeat of the same thing on the other side. LED headlights, LED daytime running lights up here. We've got the turn signal turned on as well. And we're going to have LED taillights on the back as well. A more slender, slim headlight housing overall here. Going to be longer, more thinned out turn signal indicator right there with those turn signal indicators pairing together with the daytime running lights, and a nice looking front grille. Gloss black here, also going to have the gloss black brow right here with the Honda logo. You will have the lower grille down there. There are sensors all around the vehicle, all kinds of great safety features. And I don't know if I can give you a good daylight shot here, but you do have the active air curtain right there to allow air through the front end. It's going to come out right here, and that way you know that you're going to help improve gas mileage. Tire size on this model, 235 is the width. It's going to have a 60 series sidewall wrapped around the gloss black 18-inch wheels. You'll also have Honda sensing here. That's going to be lane keeping assist, road departure mitigation, adaptive cruise control, all of those great features. There's also the blind spot information system built into these side view mirrors right there. Speaking of the side view mirrors, they are gloss black, they are manually folding, but they are heated and power adjustable. Turn signal indicators are built in. And you do have your proximity key. What does that look like for 2023? Didn't mean for that to rhyme, but somehow it worked. There is the remote for 2023. Obviously, you can take that off. It does have remote start. People always like to know, does it have a remote start, and are there turn signal indicators built into the side view mirrors? Yes, and you can change what the vehicle does when you walk away and all that good stuff. So obviously you can walk up and lock and unlock the interior. We're going to have chrome surround on the windows here, a little bit of a darkened rear window. I believe Holmes Honda did add that to this vehicle. They've added window tint among some other features on the vehicle. You're going to have the roof rails up here. And then as we work our way to the rear, a different design, somewhat similar but not identical, of the rear taillight housing compared to what the previous generation of the CR-V had. So that's there. Going to have the, I like the fact that it's black here. The Sport logo, that's good, but honestly, I think it would have looked just as good to do CR-V and the hybrid logo here. Well, maybe not the hybrid logo, I don't know, but it would look good in all black. Just something to consider there. And then we're going to have the rear roof spoiler right here as well. That actually isn't just here to finish things off and make things look nice. that actually is functional when you're driving down the road. It channels air over this rear window and keeps that rear window clean. But when it's not clean, when it sits still long enough, the CR-V sits still long enough, obviously you have your rear window wiper right there to take care of that. So we talked about the exterior. Let's talk about what's under the hood if you are going to buy a CR-V hybrid. Here is something I have not seen on any other Honda before. It has the hood struts to help hold the hood up when you open it. No longer having the prop rod here, only on the CR-V. The new Pilot doesn't have that. The new Accord doesn't have it, still has that prop rod. And a lot of people aren't going to be too worried about that just because, well, you're not as concerned about this area of the vehicle as someone like myself might be, who is a car fanatic. Speaking of under the hood, you have the combination of the 2-liter direct injection 4-cylinder. It is naturally aspirated, paired with the battery, the system that is the hybrid portion, that makes up the hybrid portion of all of this. Horsepower numbers come in at 247 pounds-feet of torque. It is mated to a CVT, and I'll show you right here on the window sticker. Hopefully you can see it there, but there it is. It's going to tell you right here that it is mated to the CVT right there. How about MPGs? 43 city, 36 highway, 40 combined, and 2.5 gallons of gas for every 100 miles driven. And you might say, wait a minute, did they get those numbers backwards? Isn't it supposed to be higher on the highway than it is in the city? Normally it would be, but you're going to use the hybrid version here, the hybrid powertrain, more in the city than you will on the highway. Therefore, that's the difference between those two numbers. Now, let me explain a couple of things here. This is not a plug-in hybrid. As long as you have gas in the tank, you're not going to have any trouble getting down the road with this engine combination because it's obviously going to run all the time. When the capacity for the charge is up to the proper level, then it's going to go into EV mode. When it gets down to a certain point, the gas engine kicks on and it charges up the batteries, and that way you're always driving down the road. And let me show you something else that's interesting here. You might see the paddle shifters on the steering wheel right here. Those are actually not for shifting gears because, well, for one thing, you don't have gears here to shift with the single-speed CVT. Those actually adjust how the regenerative braking works on this model. That's one of the ways that the hybrid powertrain stays up to charge capacity. And you can increase or decrease how that works based on using these shifter paddles. So if you were curious about that, now you know. Those aren't really shifter paddles, they are regenerative braking adjustment paddles. Did I just create some new terminology? If you want to tow with your CR-V hybrid, at least for the 2023 model year, you can tow up to 1,000 pounds. And being that this is the hybrid combination here, you won't have quite as much in the way of cargo space as you will if you go with the just regular gas burning on the other trim levels. What are the cargo capacities here? 39.3 cubic feet up to 76.5. You do not have a spare tire. I know a lot of people don't like that, but it is what it is. That's very typical of a hybrid vehicle. So that's what you're going to have in this particular case. You will have the 12-volt power outlet back here with your LED cargo lighting, so quite a bit going on there. And you do have the ability to maximize cargo capacity by simply coming right here and lowering the seat backs down. And these seats also recline. Let me show you the difference there. See the difference? I don't think that anyone's going to sit in that seat at that angle. It's more of a 90 degree, but this is how far they go back, and this is really where they will be set normally. That's a little more comfortable than what we have there. Now, we'll reach up here and close the rear door. Very easy to do, even though it's not power. You are still going to have the child safety lock activation here on the rear doors. When it's in that down position, they're active. When it's up like this, they are not. Soft touch materials here. You're going to have the orange contrast stitching. In fact, we'll do the armrest test here and see, is that comfortable? Yeah, actually it is. Decent sized door bin. If your rear seat passengers begin to wonder and forget what vehicle they're riding in, they can just look right here and be reminded that it's a CR-V. And we have the cloth seating here, the black interior, again, more of that contrast, the orange contrast stitching. You will have the fold-down armrest with the cup holders built in. This is a really good design, and you might say, well, what does it matter? Normally, this is not the way you're going to find the cup holders. They're going to be up here in the front. And so if you put cups up here, well, guess what? You can't use the armrest function anymore. If cups are in each one or bottles, you can still use the armrest function back here, or your rear seat passengers can. That is a good thing. You will have the singular rear seat pocket only on the passenger side there, not here on the driver's side. Air conditioning vents, obviously for the rear seat passengers, and 2 USB ports. Eventually, it would be nice to see car manufacturers start to put 3 USB ports here in the rear seat area, because you do have seating for a total of 5 people, 2 in the front and 3 in the rear. That's why you need that third USB port right there. If one of your passengers, your would-be passengers, is watching and grumbling about the fact that the size of these rear door bins is not very big, well, tell them to call Shotgun, because right here you're going to have the larger door bin. That's the biggest difference here. You do still have these soft touch materials, control the windows and door locks and all that good stuff here. Obviously a difference in the design of the door panel overall. Here on this particular, on the hybrid sport trim level, you will find a manually adjustable passenger seat, power adjustable driver's seat, and we'll take a look across the dash real quick just to show you the differences. Going to have that honeycomb design, very much like what the Honda Civic has, the 11th generation, where you can't really tell the difference between where the air conditioner vents start and stop, except for the fact that you have the adjustments right here. You will have the nice spacious interior right here for your glove box, and a couple more connectivity options right here, USB and another 12-volt power outlet. No USB, or excuse me, no wireless charging here in this particular case, but you do have the traditional shifter. It's not push button. Mode selector, your hill descent control, power parking brake, and brake hold mode. There are the cup holders and a nice size lid for the center console. Very soft, comfortable as an armrest, and there is a reasonable amount of space within this area. It even has a nice plush carpeted bottom, kind of fancy, I guess. And there is a conventional size sunroof here. So if you're hoping for a panoramic sunroof, you might have to step up to the Pilot, because it does have the panoramic sunroof, unlike the new CR-V that we're taking a look at in today's video. And in case your front seat passenger forgets that it's a hybrid version, if they say, is this a hybrid or not? I don't remember. You can just point right here and they're going to know. And taking a look in through the driver's side door, not much different than what we saw on the passenger side. The controls for the windows, you can lock and unlock the windows. Obviously the door locks, and controls for those heated power adjustable side view mirrors. If you want to do a burnout with your front wheel drive CR-V hybrid sport, well, there's your traction control button. You can turn that off and give it a shot with that 204 horsepower. You can drop this lever right here to adjust the tilt and telescopically adjustable steering wheel. And we'll hop inside and take a look at the graphics that you have coming up on the infotainment, or excuse me, the instrument cluster, I should say. The animated graphics, just so you can see what is there. And I will move everything out of the way with the steering wheel here for you to see the nice digital instrument cluster. Everything is there. You can see who has their seatbelt on and who doesn't. You can also scroll with this wheel right here through quite a bit of information. Let's see if I can make that work. Now let's go back. There we go. That way I can just at least show you what is here and all the different options and information that you can learn about with your CR-V. And while I'm at it, let's see if we can do this. We're going to go through our driving modes. So you can see that you have sport mode right there. And we're going to go to normal. I'll show you the graphics as well as they come up. Econ mode and snow mode. Would be better to have all-wheel drive for snow, but that's what you have. Obviously push button start. Nothing new where that's concerned. What is new is going to be the infotainment screen, its design and its position. The 90-degree angle cuts down on glare. Its position in the dashboard and the way it's basically a floating touchscreen is meant to help the driver to have a better opportunity to keep their eyes on the road if they do need to look down at the screen, because it's not inset into the dashboard anymore at an angle as was the previous generation of this vehicle, of the CR-V. We're going to have our dual zone climate control right here. And obviously you can sync or unsync those if you want to. You do have heated seats, but heated only, no ventilated seats. That would be nice to have on this particular warm Louisiana day. No conversation mirror, so make sure you're not driving down the road and looking at the kids in the back seat to show your angry eyes instead of using the conversation mirror, which you shouldn't use that while you're driving either. But you do have a nice sunglass holder here, in case you were curious about what was up there. The control for that power sunroof up there, it tilts, it slides back and forth, it does all that good stuff. What is it like to drive this new CR-V? Let's hop out on the road and see what it's like. By the way, one thing I did forget to tell you about the rear view camera. There is one here. It's not really much different than the previous generation. You do have the multi-view here, but just in case you were curious, well, now you know what that looks like. All right, here we go out on our test drive. The ride quality overall is good here with the new CR-V. It's not that it was bad with the previous generation, but it seems that there's been a bit of an improvement. You have the front McPherson strut suspension here and the multi-link rear suspension on this model. So if you're curious about that, well, there you go. Now you know what you have. A very enjoyable vehicle to drive. It's very nimble. It gets around with no problem. It's very, very maneuverable. That's always a good thing, especially if you live in a really big area. Obviously, this isn't going to be a full-size SUV, so it's easier to move around, to maneuver around, to get around in heavy traffic situations. If you live in a highly congested large city, it's definitely a good vehicle to consider. The seats themselves, obviously adjustable, especially with the power adjustable driver's seat, which most likely if you're watching this video, you're going to want to know about that more so than you do about the passenger seat, because you probably won't be riding over there ever, if maybe occasionally, but probably not too often. Overall, a very simplistic interior, but the latest in technology from Honda is here quite a bit, but a simplistic system. The technology is not overly difficult to learn for those who have never had it before, and the acceleration, when you need to get up to speed for highway speeds and all of that, is not a bad thing. 204 horsepower may sound underpowered, but it's really not bad. So really a nice, comfortable vehicle. The steering wheel is leather wrapped. It's also very comfortable. Really be a good vehicle for a long road trip. What I am going to do, let's change into Econ mode out of curiosity. I'm just going to see what the differences are. I can definitely tell the difference in how the vehicle is behaving as far as how the engine and transmission are working between each other. A lot of people, I know you're not really that worried about that. You may not even change modes. In fact, there's a question for you to answer down in the comments section. If you have a vehicle, whether it's a Honda CR-V or something else, a non-Honda vehicle, whatever it is, and it has multiple driving modes, do you change the driving modes, or do you maybe just leave them as they are? All right, now that I've done all the talking, it's your turn. Tell me what you think down in the comments. Is the 2023 Honda CR-V better than ever, fully redesigned? What do you think? Tell me what your answer is, and tell me why you answered the way that you did. Gotta say a special thanks to my friends here at Holmes Honda for loaning me this 2023 CR-V for the day, the Hybrid Sport CR-V. And a special thanks to all of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about other vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I will see you there.